Hello and welcome to another episode of Success Arise. I'm your host, Gwen Goolsby-Tillery, and as usual, I thank you for tuning into this episode. So this week we have a guest with us, a special guest who is going to share with us her journey into starting and launching her business and all that she has done with her business and a little bit about her as just an individual. So welcome to Success Arise, Zipporah.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. So just to give you a little bit of insight about who I am and what I do, my name is Zipporah Brown. I started doing what I call a notebook company, I want to say approximately about 5 years, but it was not called a notebook company then. It was called Soul Bite Studios. So with Soul Bite Studios, I had to change the name this year because everybody kept thinking it was a radio studio or a music studio, even though the information was clear and concise. They kept thinking it was something else other than what it was. And as I was working, I was doing a very long commute and decided that at this particular time, what do I want to do the most? How can I go about doing it, and would my husband be supportive? We were a dual income household, and so that means that it would be knocked down to one. And would he be willing to support the household while I get this business up and running? My husband was on board with it. It took him a little bit to get on board, but he did. And with that, I actually resigned from my job.
Okay, so before you go into more of the new company, which I'll let you give the new name, before we go there, so tell us, so you said you're married, so tell us a little bit about the family dynamic.
Sure. So I'm married to my husband, Adrian. We have two beautiful kids. My daughter is 17. She's the oldest. Her name is Sierra. And I have a son. His name is Aiden. My son, Aiden, he has special needs. Aiden is really the catalyst of why I am going into business for myself.
Okay. See, and this is what I wanted to get out. So explain what you mean by that.
So my son, Aiden, he is what you will call total care. So everything that is done for Aiden is either done by myself, our family members, or a nurse. With that, my son goes to a school, and his school ages out at age 21. So I was thinking, okay, when he's 21, what do we do with Aiden? Technically, I don't want Aiden looking at me, and I don't want him sitting in the house. What can I do? So I said, well, Aiden's going to come work for his mother. So I'm starting my company because I wanted to be a catalyst for children with special needs. So it's going to be an employment hub for people with special disabilities, and I solely want to hire people just like them. I feel like if I'm a parent and I'm feeling this way, I'm quite sure there's other parents that feel the same way. And even if it's only on a part-time basis, I really want them to do something. So it will always be ADA compliance. Doesn't matter if they can walk, if they can't talk, I will have adaptive devices so they can be communicative in some type of way.
So tell us a little bit more. My background is in special education. As you know, I have spent almost 30 years dealing with children with special needs. And so, that's kind of where my heart is. So tell us a little bit. And the reason I want you to do that is because I know that every time someone comes here and shares their story, it's an inspiration to someone else. And so that is really what this platform is about. So tell us a little bit more about Aiden, and what was that like as you began to realize how much you were going to have to pour into his care?
As he's getting older, my son is officially 12, right? But he does not walk. So mom, get these arms because of Aiden. And I'm thinking, he's only going to get bigger. He's only going to get stronger. And it's like, what else can we do? Because I really don't want my child just to be sitting and just being non-responsive because he can't socialize, air quote socialize, because he's no longer in school. So what can I do? So this is what I'm doing. And the reason why I decided to move in this direction, somebody thought of Aiden School. They may be alive, they may not be alive, but that school is thriving. And what I'm building is more than me. It's outside of me. It's going to be a legacy for these young people in the future. So that's why I'm heading in this direction.
Okay. And so what is his diagnosis? What is his disability?
So my son is diagnosed with epilepsy. He has cerebral palsy. He has vision impairment as well.
Okay. So that's a lot of care.
Yes.
It's a lot of care. So how has the family dynamics been with that change? Because your daughter is 17.
Yes.
And so 5 years later, you have had him. What was that like as a family and the change in the family dynamics? And how did you get through that?
Okay, so Aiden wasn't really diagnosed until he was 6 months. And it was actually his school teacher, his preschool teacher. She did a fire test or a fire drill, so to speak. And she was banging some pots. Normally, when you bang a pot, you react. My son didn't. We went on vacation a couple of weeks later, and my son experienced these abnormal head nods. His head would be upright, next thing you know, it went down. So we ended up going to CHOP, and that's when he was diagnosed with infantile spasm. So that is the onset of epilepsy. With that changed our dynamics. But my daughter has always been an advocate for Aiden. She's very strong. There's no push and pull or like any, I guess, breaking our dynamics, so to speak. She really is a support system. Like if I'm not around, my daughter knows exactly what to do.
Nice.
And with that, I had to make sure that I spent one-on-one time with her outside of Aiden because of the fact that he can absorb all of our time. So I used to have special play dates for my daughter. We used to have one-on-one mommy. We still do it to this day. Anything my child is into, and she's heavily into K-pop, I'm there. I'm a cheerleader. I'm taking her to these concerts because I want to make sure that she feels nothing lacking. That's for lack of better words.
Right. That's important.
Yes.
That is definitely important because I know for a lot of children in that dynamic, you know, so much is given to the other child that they begin to feel, you know, left out and, you know, then they have their own set of issues that you have to worry about later. So that's really good that you've made that extra effort to make sure she knows that she is still very much a part of the family as much as him, and that you guys spend that quality time together also. That's really good. So you said that before, you know, really going forward with the notebook company, you had to resign.
Yes.
So something else that I'm familiar with, you know, when you get to that place, whether, you know, it be for your own need or someone else's, but you get to a place where you're like, this isn't working anymore. So how long did it take for you to process that and say, okay, I'm going to do it? And how many times did you say, wait, are you really going to do this? And what were you doing?
Okay, so it took me probably all of last year, to be honest. I was working at a really great school, but the school ended up kind of releasing their charter. And so we were all out of work. And so I had to find an opportunity. At that time, I had made that decision like, I'm not going back to work. I'm going to start this business. But my husband was not ready to absorb everything. So I said, you know what? I don't want to put all this pressure, unnecessary pressure. So I found an opportunity and I went. My commute was 165 miles one way.
Wow.
Yes. So in that process, yes. Wow. So I'm going to Ocean County.
Wow.
So from Pine Hill, New Jersey. Yes. And in that commute, that's when me and God, we developed this relationship stronger than ever. And during that course, I'm listening to audio books. I'm listening to praise and worship. I'm listening to things that's going to feed my spirit. And then through that process, that's when all these ideas came. That's when a notebook company came. This is when I started pressing more into it. Because from when I can remember, I'm always doing something that had anything to do with notebook, inspiring, motivating, and encouraging people one way or another. And with that, I said, I have to change the name. I know I have all of this over here with Soul Bites, but it got to be something that people understand clearly, concisely, and do not give it any kind of misconception. And that's where Notebook Company came. That's exactly where it came from, my commute. And with that, I said to my husband, I'm a little stressed. I'm a little overworked. I'm doing the work of 5 people. Wow. I was a one-woman shop. So on one hand, people was like, yeah, one-woman shop. Yeah, you get to know everything. On the other hand, I'm like, yes, I'm a one-woman shop. Right. So it could be exhausting. So when you're putting out one fire and you think you're finished with this project, here comes another project.
Right.
So it was ongoing. And then the tears started coming. And then it was like, this can't be life. Kind of, I'm like, I'm more than this. And I have been through so many other things where I overcame. I said, this can't just be it. This have to be something else. And then one day I just said, God, I'm praying that you give me opportunity to make money with my hands. And that was it.
Wow. Okay. So you said a couple of things there. The one thing that stood out for me in terms of your journey and your process to being able to make that decision is the quality time that you spent with God. And that is so key. It is so key when we're trying to make decisions and trying to get clarity that we really take the time to connect with God, the source, the creator. Success Arise is about people who are walking in success. But that success is God-driven success. It's walking in the thing that God has created you to do, prepared you to do, to be in the assignments that he's calling you to be in. It's not about necessarily the success, again, of the world, like I said, but the success of knowing that you're doing what it is that you're supposed to be doing. And so I'm sure even though you felt nervous and worried and concerned, like financially, like I understand, because that was my situation to go from, a two income family to a one income family. You're just like, oh my gosh, but then there's also a peace that I'm sure that you had with making that step. And it's such a weird place to be in because like I said, on the one hand, you're so worried and you're so nervous because you just don't know how you're going to survive financially. But then there's this peace that you cannot explain. And you've just done like one of the craziest things ever, but there's still this peace that's inside of you. So you put in the letter and you're like, how do you feel when you put the letter in? I know how you felt, but share with everyone else. I know how you felt.
I was relieved, but my best friend from childhood, I call her my sister. And she was like, girl, I can't believe you did it. But she said, you did it. You're going in the right direction. And I said, you know what? I feel that way. And I said, and I'm not even worried. That was the thing. I wasn't even, initially I was, but like you said, this peace came over me and I'm like, oh my God, I am free. I said, okay, but then I had to speak to my family, say, okay, even though I seem free, mommy still got 95 hours downstairs. And so, and I'm going to be working, but I make sure I'm present. So I make sure I end my day at 5. Or if I didn't get everything done, I make sure I'm present with my kids. And when they're going to bed, then I'll hop back downstairs. So that's
and that people don't realize how much discipline and commitment is involved in running your own business. You have to put in the work. You have to be disciplined. You have to have really good time management when you're working at home because, I know even now, I could easily find myself doing household things when I need to be doing business things. And so it does require a lot of discipline and making sure that you have good time management skills. Absolutely. So I think you gave us the name. But what's the name of the company?
It is called A Notebook Company. So A Notebook Company, we provide custom journals, planners, guest books, calendars, and more. I'm so excited about my business because I know it's bigger than me, and that's why I'm very excited about this journey. Good. Exciting. So you just recently took another leap of faith. Yes. So A Notebook Company also have a kiosk at Gloucester Premium Outlets, and that was truly a leap of faith. One morning, about a couple of weeks ago, I woke up and it was on my spirit. And my husband and I normally go out and do dinner dates on Fridays. And I say, honey, before we head out, we need to go over to this outlet. I said, God has led me to this outlet. He said, okay. We go and speak to the management team, and he took our information, took our business card. I showed them our supplies, our products and stuff. And they said, we'll be in touch. I'm telling you, it turned around within a week, just like that. And all I needed to do was provide them with commercial insurance. reached out to my insurance company, and that turned around just like that. And before you know it, they really wanted me to start before I could have start, because I already made a commitment to do something else. And I started October the following week. So October 17th, the following Saturday, I started.
Wow. Nice.
Yes.
So how has that been? How does that feel?
It feels good because I know my end game is to be a brick and mortar, so I can provide the services for the children with special disabilities. So this is like my taste, and I know this is it's awesome. It's amazing, and it's been very consistent.
Good,
Yes.
good. So is there anything else on the horizon in terms of the business? I know you just launched 2 new products.
Yes. So I take a page sometime from my daughter, because my daughter, she's a social butterfly when she wants to, but she's antisocial too as well. It's like it's dual. And last year I made my daughter a sweatshirt, and I made her a pillow that says antisocial. And I said, you know what? I'm quite sure this would be great as a notebook. And then I posted it because there's plenty of people out here who is really an introvert, but have to put on the face of an extrovert so they can do what they need to do. And so I launched that notebook, and then I also recently launched a 6-month planner. It's called Lipstick and Hustle. Within that planner, it has a self-care for the at the end of the month. It gives you motivation. It is everything girly per se, but in the most motivational way possible. And the reason why we did 6 months, because we want to incorporate our clients into our next 6 months planner and get your ideas and your feedbacks and how we can even make the next 6 months even better.
Okay, so tell me a little bit. You said you've kind of always been into the inspiring and encouraging people, but what specifically is it about the notebook?
I feel personally that notebooks are tangible. Even though we have cell phones and we have calendars, I take that page from the Bible, Habakkuk, and I write my vision plain, and I make sure that it's in front of me. And I just feel that when you do write, it's way more tangible than typing in something.
Yes.
I can remember it better. I can tangibly pick up the book and go back to it. And I feel like notebooks are really your personal journey, to be quite honest. You can switch a phone, you can change your app, but that notebook is going to be there. And I have plenty of them from when I was younger to up to right now.
Yeah, it's true. I just have to get better with my notebooks because I have so many of them. So that's a system I need to figure out for myself. But I know when it's something, you're absolutely right. When it's something important, like when I get my messages, like when I'm getting, my messages are always written, handwritten first. They're never typed first. It's always in a notebook, handwritten first. And then I go back and type it. And you're right, it's something about having that pen or that pencil to the paper and just it coming from here to there and writing it out. Yeah, it is something amazing about that process. And then the other piece, of course, is journaling, or when you have your notebook, you can always go back and look.
Exactly.
And you know, you open up the pages and you go back and you look and you say, wow, like, this is what I said 5 years ago, and now here I am.
Exactly.
And it's so even better than what I had written. So that's a wonderful thing also about journaling. And, you know, something goes wrong with your computer, you lose your material.
Exactly.
But there's, you know what, you can keep those journals and those notebooks forever and have them in your drawer. And when you want to, you can just pull it out and go back and refer to it. That's good stuff. So anything that you would like to share with people in terms of, you know, just forging through, having the faith to move when you're not necessarily comfortable? What advice would you give to people?
I would say, personally, if it's something that's been on your mind and is repetitive and it's just keep lingering around, you can't release it. You can't let it go. Even though you're trying to push it to the back burner, that's your passion. That's what is meant for you to be doing. And everything will never line up perfectly. It just won't. That's just life. But you take the action step, God will follow.
Yes.
But it got to start with you first. just taking that action step. I didn't have all the pieces together, but I moved. And I keep moving, and then I keep professing. And when I'm professing to God, He's making a way. I know it seemed very simple, but that's exactly how it is.
It's true. I have a group that I do on Tuesdays with a group of women, and I keep telling them, it's difficult to access everything that God has for us because we always want to see the whole picture. Mm-hmm. And in order for us to really move in what God has for us, we have to be willing to walk through that first door to see what's behind the next door. Exactly. And so you have to start moving. Yes. Like you did. You didn't have the whole, you still don't.
Nope.
We never do.
Nope.
You never know what it's going to look like, yes. But you just have to trust the process. Yes. Trust Him, mm-hmm. and know. And the other piece is we've got to be in a place of progress over perfection. Because like you said, it's never going to be the right time to do this. All the pieces are never going to always be in place. Nope. That's where the faith comes in. Yes. That's where the faith comes in. And you have to begin to move even when the picture is not clear. You still kind of have to feel like, okay, it's not clear, but I'm going to do this anyway.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yes. So before we end, can you share your social media, your website information, sure. and how people can get in contact with you?
Absolutely. So our website is anotebookcompany.com. On Facebook is a notebook co. So we shorten company. And on Instagram, it's a_notebook_co. So.
Great. Mm-hmm. So if you'd like to order that antisocial or the new calendar or the lipstick and hustle, yes. you can visit her website or check her out on Instagram or Facebook. Also, I will make sure to provide all of her information within the description section, so you can also reach out to her that way. I thank you for coming to be a part of Success Arise.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. I wish you continued success. I am excited about what God is going to do in terms of you being able to open up a facility that will be able to benefit and accommodate not just, children that will become adults with special needs, but their families also.
Yes.
Yeah, it will. That is definitely going to be major for the families because you just want to know that there's a place that your child can go to and be productive, exactly. And be supported and be taken care of too at the same time without having to worry. So exactly. I really wish you all the best with that.
Thank you.
So once again, I thank you for tuning into another episode of Success Arise. Remember what I share with you each and every episode. We have all been created by God with a plan and for a purpose. We may not know the whole picture, yep. but it is important that we step out on faith and we begin to move, and God will do the rest. As we walk through one door, another door will be open, because guess what? Success is truly in our DNA when we follow God's path. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to like, comment, and share. God bless. All right. If we just look at the camera so we can get a still shot.
Okay.